The 717 is a short-haul regional aircraft designed by Donald Douglas as the MD-95 and sold by Boeing as the 717. The aircraft was designed and built during the Boeing buyout of their competitor in 1998 and first flew commercially in 1999 with AirTran Airways. TFDi Design is a relatively new developer when it comes to add-ons for FSX and P3D, and until the release of the aircraft only ever worked on software for flight simulators beforehand. I remember when speaking to Colin Bidencap at the Flight Sim show last year, where he explained to me that the actual idea of creating a 717 came about as a joke after someone had mentioned no one had done a 717 flight simulator before. Today we take a look at their aircraft and have a look at the features that it includes, as well as whether or not this aircraft is worth adding to your virtual hangar. Installing the TFDi Design 717 is a simple process. After purchase, you download the add-on manager for TFDi. The program both acts as a payload manager, an aircraft configuration tool, and also the DRM for the aircraft, as you must log into your TFDi account in order to use it. If you don't log in, it doesn't work. Simple as. Once you're logged in, the aircraft starts downloading and installing into your flight simulator. This process is automated, and once done, the aircraft is ready to fly. This tool is very useful for your 717 operations, as it gives you everything you need to know when programming the FMC to set up your flight in general. You also have the option to download 4 PDF documents as well. These are checklists and familiarization guides aimed at helping you fly the aircraft as efficiently as possible. These documents are very well written and clearly laid out, allowing for both new and veteran simmers alike to be able to get to grips with the aircraft and how the systems work and more. The TFDi 717 looks fantastic. The aircraft model includes a high level of detailing throughout and bump mapping that gets every little detail out of the aircraft and fuselage as possible. The Boeing 717 is very much a different aircraft to what Boeing have produced in the past, and for the most part is an elephant in the room, as it's very much a McDonnell Douglas DC-9 at heart. This for the most part means that there is the odd rough edge per se on the aircraft, as it has eyebrow windows, which this model includes, and a very different body to anything else Boeing have made before. The TFDi model also includes different aerials and fins around the aircraft body, which again adds realism to the model. You also get a basic passenger cabin as well, which can be seen through the transparent passenger windows. Like most modern add-ons for a flight simulator, this is more of a gimmick, but it does add to the overall model as it gives you extra depth. The 717 in this case is no exception, and the cabin does make the aircraft appear a lot more lifelike, especially when flying. The detailing of the Rolls-Royce BR715 engine is also really well done. For many, the BR715 is seen as the last proper classic turbofan engine, and that of the McDonnell Douglas style, as most aircraft these days now use a turbojet alternatively. This meant that for many die-hard fans, it needs to be done right, which in this case it has been. You only get one livery from the get-go, and that is a mock-up TFDi Design 717 house livery, as not to break any trademarks in selling official logos of other companies. On their forums, however, there is a download section where you can install official Delta Airlines, Qantas Link and Hawaiian liveries to the aircraft. The forum also includes a number of community-made liveries alongside these too. The cockpit of the TFDi 717 both looks and feels the parts. Taking much inspiration from the MD-80, the 717 cockpit is small but spacious. The layout is simple and clear, with each panel engaged right where it should be. The cockpit features a full overhead panel with buttons and switches defined and 3D modelled. The back of the cockpit also includes circuit breakers, which have also been made visible through bump mapping as well. As mentioned previously, eyebrow windows are also a thing, meaning that on a technical level this is an earlier 717, or at least yet to be retrofitted. One issue of the 717, and some aircraft with eyebrow windows for that matter, was that depending on where you fly and what angle you turn at, glare was a massive issue, making the panels harder to see. Likewise, in some cases when the sun was right over the window, this could also shine into the pilot's eyes, namely Hawaiian aircraft in the Hawaiian Islands. While it was good for spotting other aircraft and hazards above you, their uses were quite limited and in most cases covered over. Compared to the real Boeing 717, everything from the colouring to the modelling is done to a very high standard, and is a very accurate portrayal. Night lighting is also done to a very high standard, with textures defined and almost burned into the model, giving you a very good idea for nighttime flying. For those that own P3D V4 however, this is also much greatly improved upon with the new technology TFDi Design have introduced called Real Light. This is where a dynamic light source is defined within the cockpit and shines on the switches and buttons, adding shadows as to where they would appear in the real world. This new take on lighting does also look fantastic, and it's a shame to be missing out on this as I am an FSX Steam Edition user. TFDi Design also take pride in the fact that everything you see in the cockpit, minus the circuit breakers, are functional. This gives you an almost study level experience with this aircraft. The overhead panel for starters is a work of art. The aircraft is not your standard Boeing, which only opts for switches, but instead has a much more varied combination of both switches and buttons. This for many is actually easier to operate, as with a button, all you have to do is check the light to see whether it's on or off, as opposed to a switch where you need to check its position, which is not an easy feat when you're looking at some angles. Setting up the aircraft is also simple. Whether you're flying from cold and dark or just turning around, the Boeing 717 is a regional aircraft that mainly flies short-haul routes. Hawaiian Airlines, for example, uses them to hop around from island to island, with quick turnarounds as the aircraft is very efficient to run and durable from flight to flight. You also have to give a shout out to the tablet the aircraft also includes. This again gives you plenty of crucial information about the setup of the aircraft, as well as a configuration section. It also has the ability to upload different documents and images to it, which in my case, when live streaming around the Hawaiian Islands, I loaded this up with flight plans and airport charts, so that I could configure the entire aircraft from here without having to leave the entire simulator. The tablet also gives you a proper 21st century flight management style, and is something that more developers should look into adding if they want to stand out. I mean, the only other aircraft I know has a feature like this is the Flight Factor A320 on X-Plane. There's definitely a gap in the market here, developers. The TFDi Design 717 also sounds the part. Audio samples have been recorded from the real Boeing 717 aircraft, and the end result is fantastic. Flying from the cockpits of the aircraft, all you need is a decent headset, and you are soaked into the experience. The exterior sounds are also done to the same high standard, giving you the distinct sound of the Rolls-Royce BR715 turbofan engine roar. Full buttons and switch sounds have also been included within the cockpit, giving you a full dynamic sense of control over the aircraft. As mentioned earlier, the 717 has a varied combination of both switches and buttons, which again all sound the part. As I keep mentioning, this is not your standard Boeing, but more your McDonnell Douglas aircraft. A full GPWS sound set has also been recorded, and other sounds from the cockpit such as alarms, and have been added to this aircraft, which again all add to the depth and realism that you're getting with this model. The 717-200 has also been a joy to fly. It's not too heavy on the controls, but it's not too light either, meaning that manoeuvring the aircraft doesn't take too much work, which for some regional airports is very important. Flight characteristics are also very well represented. Everything from the high angle of attack of climb to the fairly average cruise speed, this aircraft does feel right. Landing, however, can very much be a challenge as this aircraft loves to float. If you don't time your flare and reverse thrust right, you'll be back in the air in no time, missing most of the runway in the process. I will also mention that this aircraft does also run surprisingly well for what is included. I did have a few teething issues initially with lagging, but once I switched over to the beta branch for the 1.1 version, things were much better for me. In fact, it is recommended that you do use the beta branch, as you do get a lot more features with the aircraft, including slightly better tablet interface and a much more optimised aircraft. TFDi Design may not be a giant when it comes to flight simulation software, but their first take on an aircraft is absolutely phenomenal. Known for their smart cards virtual airline system, true glass windshield effects tool and real light lighting, this was their very first foray into an aircraft simulation, and I have to say, it's probably one of the best I've flown ever. Everything from the physical modelling right down to the technical level and the code behind it is also done to some of the highest of standards. Flying the aircraft, which is very much helped by the tablet system, has also been a blast, and doing short island hops around Hawaii can be a lot of fun. I am the kind of pilot who does like to do medium to long haul flights before taking a break from flying, but this however is the first time in memory I've actually done a full turnaround and multiple flights in one session. To have this level of standard so early on means that if they do ever release another aircraft in the future, it can only go up from there. Selling for $59.99, the pricing is also what you'd expect from this quality, and they do also have sales if you do go visit them at different flight events such as the Flight Sim Expo and Flight Sim Show. The TFDi Design 717 comes with a plethora of features that makes flying it worthwhile, ranking up there with your PMDGs and, dare I say them, FS Labs. This is a phenomenal product with so much behind it, it's actually quite amazing. As a regional aircraft, the Boeing 717 has had its fair share of ups and downs in its service life and was never the most popular aircraft, but as an add-on, TFDi Design really does it justice and therefore is an aircraft I do very much recommend.